of you. This is 12th class biology, lecture 4 of chapter 8, human health and disease. Topics to be discussed today are immune system and AIDS. In immune system, you will learn about primary and secondary lymphoid organs, spleen and lymph nodes. And in AIDS, you will learn about the HIV life cycle, that is HIV, that is virus responsible for the AIDS, and also the preventive methods of the AIDS. So let's start with the first topic, immune system. So what is immune system? The system that gives immunity to the body. You already know about the immunity. What is the immunity? Okay, so the system that gives us immunity by recognizing, responding and remembering foreign antigens. Okay, all these things are there. It recognizes the foreign particles, it responds to it by making the antibodies or by killing directly that antigen, and also it make the memory cells. So we can say it remember the foreign antigen. Okay, so it is doing all these things, recognizing, responding and remembering. So that system is called immune system. Now our immune system includes lymphoid organs, tissues, cells and soluble molecules like antibodies. Okay, so there are lymphoid organs, tissues, cells and antibodies. All these are part of our immune system. And now here you can see these are some organs shown here which are part of immune system. These are tonsils. Okay, you can see the positions here of all these. Okay, adenoid, tonsils. This is thymus in the chest region. Okay, near the heart. This is bone marrow. This is spleen, and these are lymph nodes. Okay, there are many positions on which lymph nodes are present. All these the structure like this here and here also, all these are lymph nodes. Okay, so all these are part of our immune system. Now immune system also play a role in allergic reaction, also in autoimmune disease and organ transplantation, right? Now let's talk about the lymphoid organs which are part of our immune system. So what are these lymphoid organs? The organs where origin, maturation and proliferation of lymphocytes occurs. Okay, so here the lymphocytes, the cells which are responsible for the immune reactions, for making the antibody or for recognizing the antigen. So those cells are originated in these lymphoid organs. Okay, so here the origin of lymphocytes takes place, also the maturation that is required for the functioning of the lymphocytes. Okay, in immature state those lymphocytes cannot work against an antigen, so maturation is required here, right? And also proliferation means a rapid increase in number when comes in contact with the antigen. A rapid increase in number is called proliferation. So all these things of the lymphocytes occur inside the lymphoid organs. Now there are two types of lymphoid organs, primary lymphoid organs and secondary lymphoid organs. So let's see what are primary and secondary lymphoid organs. First of all, primary lymphoid organs. Here immature lymphocytes differentiate into antigen sensitive lymphocytes. Okay, so primary lymphoid organs are basically the organs where the origin of the lymphocytes takes place, and also that immature form of the lymphocyte becomes mature here. Okay, that becomes differentiate to form the antigen sensitive lymphocytes. So both the lymphocytes, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes, will be formed here and will get will become the antigen sensitive, right? For example, what are the examples of the primary lymphoid organs are bone marrow and thymus. Now the thymus is large during birth but gradually reduce in size and becomes very small in puberty. Okay, now let me tell you the different role of the bone marrow and thymus, because both are primary lymphoid organ. Okay, so both are involved with the formation formation of the lymphocytes and the maturation of lymphocytes, right? In bone marrow, both the lymphocytes, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes, are formed. Okay, B lymphocytes get mature inside the bone marrow, while T lymphocytes move to the thymus for the maturation. Okay, after formation inside the bone marrow, the T lymphocytes moves to the thymus for the maturation. So this thymus is you can say an important part of our immune system, right? Because it is helping in the maturation of T lymphocytes, and you already know about the role of the T lymphocytes in immunity. We have discussed in previous lecture, right? Because without T cell help, B cells cannot make antibodies, right? So you can say this thymus is very important organ. Okay, it provide us immunity. Now thymus is large during the birth. At the time of birth, size of thymus is larger, and gradually it reduces in size and becomes very small in puberty, right? And in old age, size of thymus degenerate, and that is a reason for the decreasing immune power in old age. Now secondary lymphoid organs. So lymphocytes have formed and have get matured in primary lymphoid organs, right? Now what is the role of secondary lymphoid organ? So let's see. The matured lymphocytes which have been matured in primary lymphoid organ, right? These matured lymphocytes migrate to these organs, means to secondary lymphoid organs. And the example of secondary lymphoid organs are spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, pairs, patches of small intestine. Okay, these are small patches of the cells present in small intestine, which also help in immunity, right? And also appendix. Appendix have also some part which play a role in immunity and acts like the secondary lymphoid organ. Okay, so what is the main role of the secondary lymphoid organ? Secondary lymphoid organs are the sites for the interaction of lymphocytes with the antigen. Okay, now what is what is the role of lymphocytes in immunity? They need to interact with the antigen, right? So after maturation, these lymphocytes will interact with the antigen. And what is the site of their interaction? That is secondary lymphoid organs, right? So here inside the secondary lymphoid organs means everywhere, in spleen, in lymph nodes, in tonsils, in pairs, patches, and also in appendix. Here lymphocytes interact with antigens. Now after this interaction with the antigen, what happened? These lymphocytes proliferate to become effector cells. Okay, whenever any lymphocyte comes in contact with the antigen, it will proliferate. Okay, a rapid increase in number will be there, and it forms the effector cells. Okay, so there means there will be formation of the effector cells. Like if any T cell is coming in contact with the antigen, then what will happen? Just after coming in contact with the antigen, it will start increasing its number rapidly, and also it makes different type of T cells. Okay, there are different types of T cells to work against the antigens in different ways. Okay, these T cells will proliferate to form the T helper cells, T cytotoxic cells, and T memory cells, which are required to keep a memory for that antigen, right? So that all is part of the proliferation. So whenever any lymphocyte comes in contact with the antigen, it proliferates and becomes the effector cell to form the different type of cells to work against the antigen in different ways. Now next lymphoid organ is that is secondary lymphoid organ, that is spleen. So here you can see the position of spleen. It this organ present here is spleen. Okay, so this is present in our chest region, and this organ is bean shaped organ. You can see here in the picture, bean shape is there, right? And it contains lymphocytes and phagocytes, right? So lymphocytes are present here, B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes, and also phagocytes. Phagocytes are the cell, are a type of WBCs which can directly engulf the antigens, right? So here also, here the lymphocytes and phagocytes both will interact with the antigen. So spleen is helping in the immunity, right? Removes, now these are some other roles of the spleen. It removes worn out RBCs. Like there is a life time of the RBCs, okay? There is age of RBCs, you can say. After that, worn out RBCs are removed by the spleen from the body, okay, and the microorganisms from the blood, okay. So it also, you can say, it also help in filtration of the blood, because it traps the microorganisms present in the blood. So there are two functions of the RBCs. First, it removes the worn out RBCs, and second, it filters the blood by trapping the microorganisms present in blood. There is one more function, that is reservoir of erythrocytes. Spleen also acts as the reservoir, means a pool of the storehouse of the erythrocytes. Erythrocytes are RBCs, right? Red blood cells. So it also acts as a storehouse for the RBCs. Now next secondary lymphoid organ is lymph nodes. And what are lymph nodes? These are small solid structures found in lymphatic system, right? You have seen the diagram, in the diagram, that where the lymph nodes are present. So what are these lymph nodes? These are solid structures, small size solid structure found in lymphatic system. You know about the lymphatic system? The blood vessels through which the lymph flows inside our body, right? So these are found in the lymphatic system. What is their function? They trap the microorganisms or other antigens, right? The microorganisms and some other antigen, means whatever will be the nature of the antigen, they will be trapped by the lymph nodes. Trapped antigens activate lymphocytes and cause the immune response. Okay, here inside the lymph nodes, lymphocytes will be present. So when the antigens are trapped by the lymph nodes, lymphocytes will work against that, and there will be an immune response. So there are different positions of lymph nodes in our body. These are here you can see these lymph nodes are found in our neck region at this position. Okay, this is a position just below your chin on both side. Okay, lymph nodes are found. Okay, so these are active areas, you can say, to fight against the antigens, right? Also these are found in the chest region, then in armpits. Okay, in armpit region also these lymph nodes are present. So so you can say your armpits are also an active region to work against the antigens. Also in groin areas. Okay, in groin areas also these are lymph nodes are found. Then here you can see in the abdominal region, abdominal lymph nodes are present, and here this is also a part of groin region. Okay, so you can, here by this diagram you can see the positions of the lymph node. Now next topic is mucosal associated lymphoid tissue, that is MALT. Okay, mucosal, M for mucosal, A for associated, then L for lymphoid, and T for tissue. So these are mucosal associated, means associated with the mucosa membrane. Okay, mucosal membrane, lymphoid tissue. Okay, so these are lymphoid tissues which are associated with the mucosal membrane. Okay, and which mucosal membrane? The mucosal membrane of the respiratory, digestive, and urinogenital tract. So we can say the MALT is located within the lining of respiratory. Lining means mucosal membrane. Okay, this lining is representing mucosal membrane here. So lining of respiratory, digestive, and urinogenital tracts have MALT. This MALT contributes 50% of lymphoid tissue. Okay, these are found means in the lining of all the systems it is present. That's why it is forming a major part of the lymphoid tissue. Here you can see in the diagram, this is lymphoid tissue. Now next topic is AIDS, that is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Okay, here this acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, what is meaning of syndrome here? Syndrome means a group of symptoms, okay, because there are many symptoms which are found. AIDS is not a particular disease actually. Okay, here what happened, this is immunodeficiency disorder, right? What is happening here? Immunodeficiency, okay, means immune system becomes weak, and due to that weakness of the immune system, many diseases many disease this can affect the person, right? So there will be a group of the disorders, okay, that's why we are calling it a syndrome. Syndrome word will always mean the group of disorders, right? So it is not a particular type of disease, it is a group of disorders, and it is acquired because it is acquired in the lifetime, it is acquired by the human being, okay. So it is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, a group of symptoms. Also there is a deficiency of immune system, right? And what is the reason behind what is the cause of AIDS? So it is caused by human immunodeficiency virus, that is called HIV, right? Now this HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, is a retrovirus. Retrovirus means the viruses having RNA as their genetic material, right? In most of the organisms, DNA is the genetic material, right? But there are many viruses in which RNA is the genetic material. So retroviruses are such viruses, and HIV is a type of retrovirus. So in HIV, what is the genetic material? RNA. Now here these are the people which are at high risk of getting AIDS, okay, the people at high risk of getting AIDS. First, individuals with multiple sexual partners, because HIV virus get transmitted through the sexual contact, okay. So here the individuals with the multiple sexual partners will be at the high risk of getting AIDS, of getting HIV infection, right? Second, the person which are drug addicts, right? Drug addicts who take drugs intravenously. Intravenously means through the injection. So the drug addicts who take the drugs through the injections will be at higher risk of getting AIDS, because for taking the drugs, these addicts can use the same needle, okay, again and again, and you know that needle, the used needle is a major reason for the transmission of the AIDS, right? So drug addicts are at high risk. Third, individuals who require repeated blood transfusion. There are many, there can be some disorder in which repeated blood transfusion is required by the person, right? So such individuals who require repeated blood transfusion will be at higher risk of getting AIDS, right? Because there are so many chances while transfusing the blood for getting the HIV infection. And one more, children born to an HIV infected mother, because HIV, this virus, human immunodeficiency virus, can cross placenta, okay, and it can means from the infected mother, it can infect the fetus also, that is developing inside the womb of infected mother. Through the placenta, it can infect the fetus. So children born to the HIV infected mother will be at high risk of getting AIDS. These are some other facts about the AIDS. First, HIV does not spread by mere touch or physical contact, okay. because for the transmission of the HIV there is requirement of the exchange of the body fluids, okay, of the contact of the body fluids, right? So only due to a mere touch or a formal type of physical contact there is no spread of HIV, right? Because it spreads only through the body fluids, which and the body fluids includes like semen, okay, vaginal fluids or blood, right? So only by contacts of these the AIDS can spread. Next thing, there is a time lag from a few months to many years, right? And time lag can be like 5 to 10 years can be there between the infection and the appearance of the symptoms, right? If HIV is infecting any person, right, so it can take time 5 to 10 years for the appearance of the symptoms of AIDS. So this is a long time, so there is a time lag. Now let's see that how this HIV affects the immune system of any person and cause the AIDS, right? So here we will do about the HIV life cycle. So let's see, first of all, whenever HIV enters into body, okay, when HIV, when this human immunodeficiency virus enters into the body of human, what happen? It enters to the macrophages, okay, it enters to the macrophages. Macrophages, you know, a part of the means a type of WBCs, right? So these macrophages acts as HIV factory. You can say here inside the macrophages, because HIV multiply, that's why macrophages are called as HIV factory. Now what happen when this HIV enter inside the macrophage? First of all, reverse transcriptase will work. What is this reverse transcriptase? This is an enzyme which can convert RNA of HIV into DNA. Okay, as you know, in HIV, what is the genetic material? That is RNA. But our genetic material is DNA, right? So there is need by the virus to convert its RNA into DNA so that it can integrate in our DNA, right? So here HIV has a virus, HIV has a enzyme to do that function, okay? So that enzyme is reverse transcriptase. You know what is transcription? Transcription means conversion of DNA into RNA. So this is reverse transcriptal, reverse means conversion of RNA to DNA, right? And transcriptase means the enzyme which will help in the conversion of RNA to DNA. That enzyme is reverse transcriptase, right? So here RNA genome replicates to form the viral DNA, okay? When the reverse transcriptase will act, that RNA will convert into DNA. Now this viral DNA gets incorporated into host cells, right? Once the viral DNA has been formed, this viral DNA gets incorporated, means it will get integrated with our DNA, with the DNA of means it is present inside the macrophages cell, so it enters inside the nucleus and get incorporate into host cells DNA, right? Now infected cells produce virus particles. How? Because when the DNA replicates, okay, when our DNA will replicate, along with that DNA, viral DNA will also get replicate because it has been integrated in that, right? So that infected cell produce the virus particles because the DNA of the virus is replicating there with our DNA. That's why virus particles will be produced there. Now infected cells produce virus particles, okay? We can say it that once the viral DNA is replicating along with our DNA, the infected cell is producing virus particles. Now HIV enters into helper T lymphocytes, right? After infecting the macrophages, that HIV will enter the helper T lymphocyte. So here we can see say that there are two types of cells in our body which are affected by the in which HIV enters. What first macrophages and then into T lymphocytes. So what happened now? This HIV virus, after entering inside the T lymphocytes, and there is a specific type of T lymphocyte. I told you that at the time of antigen contact with the antigen, T lymphocytes proliferate and make different types of T cells. Okay, and one of those is T helper cell, that is called TH. Okay, so which particular type of T cells are affected by HIV? TH, right? So here inside the TH, inside the helper T lymphocytes, HIV will replicate and produce progeny viruses, right? So there will be an increase in number of HIV here inside the T lymphocytes. Now HIV from these T lymphocytes will attack other helper T cells, means other helper T lymphocytes, causing decrease in the number of T helper cells, right? Whenever HIV will affect the T helper cells, there will be decrease in number that will kill the T helper cells, and there will be decrease in T helper cells. It will weaken the immune system, okay, because T helper cells, you know, these are responsible for killing the antigen, right? So if there will be decrease in number of T helper cells, there will be decrease in our immune power. So it is how the immune system becomes weak due to the infection of HIV, because there is decrease in number of macrophages as well as decrease in number of T helper cells. That is the cause for weakening of the immune system, of the immune power. Now see here, this is a diagram given in your NCERT book. Here you can better understand about the life cycle of the HIV. Okay, so first of all, see here, this is HIV, that is a retrovirus, means having the RNA as genetic material, right? And this is the RNA of the virus, this blue colored part, this is the RNA of the virus, and it is covered by a protein coat. As you know, in the viruses, genetic material is covered by protein coat. Okay, so this is complete structure of the retrovirus. This diagram you need to make in your notebooks. Okay, so make this diagram in your notebook, practice it. This is very important diagram. Now this is a protein coat surrounding the RNA of HIV. Okay, now viral RNA core, virus infects the normal cells. See here, this virus is infecting the normal macrophage. Okay, this complete cell, you can say this is a cell, this is a cell, and which cell is this? This is macrophage. Okay, so this HIV is infecting a macrophage here, right? This is nucleus of the macrophage. Okay, this is a cell macrophage, and inside it this is nucleus, and here you can see inside nucleus this is DNA present. Okay, now when HIV infects a macrophage, what happens? Protein coat will remain outside and only the DNA means its genome will enter inside. Okay, this you already know by the experiment, Hershey and Chase experiment. You know that genome part of the virus enters inside the cell to infect that, right? So here the protein coat will remain outside and this RNA of the HIV is entering inside the macrophage, right? Now reverse transcriptase will act. Okay, so see here, viral DNA is produced by reverse transcriptase. So reverse transcriptase act here, converting this RNA into this DNA, right? Now this DNA, means viral DNA, incorporates into host genome. So here host genome, that is means the DNA of the host is present here. So here DNA of virus will also get incorporate, right? Now whenever this DNA will replicate, DNA of the virus will also replicate, right? So there will be new viral RNA is produced by the infected cell. So this RNA has been formed here, right? Once the DNA will replicate, and after that, you know, normal transcription will occur to form the RNA. So here when the normal RNA will be formed from this DNA, virus RNA will also be formed, right? So this viral RNA has been formed, has been produced here, right? And this viral RNA, once the viral RNA will be formed here, it will be surrounded by the protein coat by using the means the material, raw material from the macrophage, from the cell, host cells only. It will use the raw material for making the protein coat from the host cell machinery, right? So these viral particles will be produced here. Once there will be a particular number of these viruses, these will come out of the macrophage and will infect the other cells. Okay, so new viruses can infect other cells also. Now one more thing is here, infected cell can survive while viruses are being replicated and released, right? Means it doesn't mean that this macrophage will be killed by once the virus has entered inside it. It will survive. It will replicate the DNA of the virus. Okay, that's why this macrophage is acting as a factory of the virus, right? Because it survives even after it get affected by the virus. That's why it is called factory of the virus, because it is helping in the means replication of the DNA of the virus, right? And formation of the viruses. So this is complete life cycle of the HIV. Now, what are the impacts of HIV infection? So HIV infected person suffers from infections like Mycobacterium, which cause TB, right? Some other viruses, fungi, and parasites. Okay, means any of the microorganism can easily affect the person, can easily infect the person, because the immune power has become weak, right? Now the person will be prone to any of the infection. So any virus, fungi, any bacteria can infect the person. So there are some examples commonly which infect an HIV infected person, right? So there can be TB due to Mycobacterium, and due to some other viruses there can be some infection, fungi or parasites like Toxoplasma. So Toxoplasma is a parasite. Due to infection of this, there are symptoms like high fever, headache, muscle pain, like this. Okay, so these are some infections in HIV infected person. Now how this HIV infection can be diagnosed, how AIDS can be diagnosed. So diagnosis is done by ELISA test. Okay, ELISA full form is enzyme linked immune sorbent assay. Okay, enzyme linked immunosorbent assay is called ELISA test. Now what is the treatment for HIV? Antiviral drugs partially effective. Okay, there is not complete treatment of the HIV, but some antiviral drugs are taken to partially which are partially effective. Okay, they can only prolong the life of patient. Now these are the prevention methods for the AIDS. First, educate people about the AIDS. That is very necessary. If people will know about the AIDS, how it can be transmitted, what are the bad impacts of the AIDS. So the knowledge about the AIDS is necessary for the prevention of AIDS. This is the necessity. Second thing, use of disposable needles and syringes, right? Because infection it can transmit through the used needles and syringes. Okay, so use of disposable needles and syringes. Third, free distribution of condoms. Okay, because through the body fluids it can be transmitted. HIV can be transmitted through the body fluids, through the semen. Okay, so use of condoms is a prevention method. Next is making blood banks safe from HIV. Okay, in the blood banks, when the blood is kept, then this blood should be checked and it should be safe from HIV. Regular checkups for HIV. Okay, there will be regular routine checkup will be there for all for the HIV, because it's a fatal disease, right? Also advocating safe sex. Okay, so people should be given the guidance about the safe sex, safe sexual practices with the use of condom, right? Now, controlling drug abuse, because for the drug addict are also prone to the infection of AIDS. So controlling drug abuse, because most of the drugs are taken intravenously through the injection, and that is a risk, that's very risky. Okay, that increase the risk of getting infection of the AIDS. So controlling drug abuse is also a preventive method for the AIDS. Now, based on today's topics, your homework is NCERT question number 6, 10 and 11. Now, let's discuss the homework solutions of previous lecture. Question number 5 of NCERT, I gave us homework, and the answer is, term suitable gene is used to refer to a particular section of DNA, right? What is gene? Gene is a particular section of DNA. So, suitable genes means a particular section of DNA that can be altered in the host in order to synthesize a particular protein, right? So what is done here? That particular section of DNA is altered in the host so that a particular protein can be synthesized. What is that protein? Antibody. Okay, and such type of proteins can be synthesized which attacks and kill a specific disease causing entity, right? So here, this is the meaning of suitable gene. This is answer of the question number 7 of NCERT, and here you need to expand all these. First is MALT, that is mucosal associated lymphoid tissues, that you have done today. CMI is cell mediated immunity, right? AIDS is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. NACO is National AIDS Control Organization. So these are part of today's lecture. Okay, National AIDS Control Organization. Then HIV is human immunodeficiency virus. Now this is question number 8, answer for the question number 8. Okay, there is difference between innate immunity and acquired immunity. So innate immunity is non-specific in nature, right? And this cannot recognize the bacteria, viruses and other pathogens separately. So this is non-specific, while acquired immunity is specific. I hope you already know the meaning of the innate and acquired immunity. This is present from the birth. First of all, you tell about this, that innate immunity is present from the birth, while acquired immunity is gained later on in the lifetime, right? Now this is non-specific and this is specific. Then innate immunity has different barriers, like there can be physical barrier, there can be physiological barrier, cytokine barrier or cellular barrier, right? In innate immunity, while in acquired immunity has a memory of antibody, right? So these innate immunity works by the presence of different barriers, while acquired immunity has a power of memory cells. For instance, mucus traps bacteria and other particles, right? For example of innate immunity is given here, like when mucus traps the bacteria and other particles. So that is an example of innate immunity, while example of acquired immunity is post vaccination antibodies response, right? After the vaccination, that response comes from our body, like antibodies response. That is a kind of acquired immunity. This is next part of the same question, question number 8, and here is difference between active immunity and passive immunity. So let's see the differences. In active immunity, in response to pathogens, body releases antibodies. So it is a natural process. Whenever any pathogen attacks the body, then our body start producing antibodies. So naturally these antibodies when are produced, that is called active immunity. While in case of passive immunity, ready-made antibodies are given from outside, right? Active immunity response is slow, while in case of passive immunity, response is fast. Examples of active immunity are post-vaccination antibodies response, right? Because the antigens are given and our body is releasing the antibodies itself naturally, right? But in case of passive immunity, and ready-made antibodies are given. So example is colostrum is rich in antibodies, like mother's milk contains the antibodies which are given to the infant, right? And also in case of snake bite and tetanus, you can tell the example of passive immunity. Thank you.